Hello YouTube, this is Frugal and this is Dovetail Games Flight School. Now it's Sunday, May the 22nd when I'm recording this, and this is due to release on the 24th, which is Tuesday. I had previously filmed this first impressions, this preview of the preview, if you like, and I didn't have a good experience. It was pretty bad. I worked with Dovetail and fed back to them a lot of issues that I found. They fixed a number of them, and I've got an updated preview build. I haven't spent very much time in this updated preview at all, but I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit concerned. You know, this is 2 days away from release, and I would have thought if they maybe had a massively more up-to-date and bug-fixed version of this product, then we in the press and the YouTubes would have it already, but I don't, which makes me concerned that maybe there isn't a big update. But who knows, I could be wrong. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to walk you through this. Now, Dovetail had said when they started building Dovetail Games Flight School, which by the way is based on Dovetail Games Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator is due for release later in 2016. I think this uses technology from it, but it is not the full flight simulator. This is very much aimed at somebody very new to flying, to get them up in the air and teaching them the basics of how to fly, navigate, and so on and so on. So bear that in mind. But they had said when they first announced this that it was based on Microsoft Flight Simulator technology, and I was very curious to know what that meant, because they have said all along this is a 64-bit application using the current version of DirectX. It is a modern simulator making full use of modern hardware, whereas FSX obviously is not. So I was very curious as to how based on Flight Simulator it is, and it's actually very, 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 very based on Flight Simulator, to the point that in your app data roaming directory on your PC, you will see an FSC directory instead of FSX. It's FSC Flight School, and in there is an FSC config which looks almost identical to FSX's config. In addition, they have done a great job at redoing the UI and making it more accessible, making it friendlier, again aimed at new pilots. So now this might break. As I go through these various settings menus, I have noticed my screen shutting off and my capture system shutting down when I do this. Hopefully this works, but if we go through these menus, you'll see a lot of similarities. So first of all here, settings, air traffic control. Anybody familiar with FSX and prepared will recognize these settings. Even though it looks dramatically different, the settings are exactly the same. If we go into graphics, for example, you'll see similar things here that we have in FSX and prepared. Let's turn aircraft labels off. There we go. It just dropped. Hopefully my recorder still kept recording. Awesome. I think it did. So we'll turn that off. You know, little quirks like that though, with the screen blanking out when you change something as innocuous as show aircraft labels, is a little concerning, I've got to say, Dovetail. Anyway, over here on the right hand side, filtering, the usual settings, just like we have in FSX. Bilinear, trilinear, and isotropic, and so on and so on. Notice as well, before we get into the sim and fly, anti-aliasing is turned on. Notice that. It kind of doesn't look like it when you're actually flying, but it's actually turned on. The control settings are a little funky. Let me go into those and show you how they work. There we go, screen blinked again. Please don't drop the recording. It's still there, oh my god. So you have this section here called calibration, and really it's not calibration. Maybe I'm stupid. I did speak to a couple of other YouTubers who've had early access to this and who have recorded videos on it. And one of them said for my control issues I should go and calibrate them in the calibration setting in controls. There's no calibration here. All you can adjust is the sensitivity and the null zones, and that's about it. So I've got my list of controllers here. I can drop these down. So there's my, can't read it because it's not wide enough, but that is actually, I don't know what that is. That's my throttle. That's my joystick. It's a little funky trying to figure out what's what if you have controls like Cytec ProFlight X55 or Thrustmaster, Warthog, for example, because the device names have such long names and that long name text just doesn't fit here. So it's a bit of trial and error and guesswork to figure out what it is you're messing with. But you can go through all your controllers here, set up sensitivity and null zones. What you're more interested in, though, I'm sure, is buttons. Calibrate keyboard. Why would you calibrate the keyboard? Buttons and keys down here, or axes. So we'll drop into axes, and again, similar things that we had in FSX and prepared. So my aileron axis, my elevator axis, and I can set all sorts of other axes down here. I can click on one of these and then click on change assignment or delete assignment or invert the axis. That, by the way, is invert axis right there. I was really struggling to find out how to invert my controls at one point. That's how you do it right there. Now I am flying, as you can see, with my X55 today. I'm also flying with my MFG crosswinds, rudder pedals. I had previously, when I recorded this previously, tried to go a little crazy, and I set up my Derek Spears flight box. There is a video coming out on that. Derek Spears Designs flight box. I tried to set up my Yoko the Yoke. I tried to set up a Go Flight throttle quadrant. You know, the normal stuff that I would set up for a really in-depth flight on a flight simulator, and it gave me issues. It had a lot of issues. So we're not doing that today. We're keeping things very simple. Realism settings, just like we have in FSX. Current realism is custom. Crashes are off. No, that actually should be on. Aircraft collisions, will turn those on because we're not in any risk of colliding with other aircraft. Random flight failures are going to turn those off. GFX will turn those on. Engine auto mixture is on. Off. That's better. Now, somewhere around here there was an auto rudder as well. Not seeing it. But auto rudder was in here somewhere. Why am I not seeing that? Maybe it's gone away in this one. Stress damages engine. Yes, it does. Unlimited fuel off. I did have to change all these settings actually. When I installed the latest build, they told me to delete my app data file and start again, which I've done. You have a pilot profile, so there I am. My home field apparently is love field. It's not. I actually set it up as maybe it is. I set it up as NASA. Hang on. If we click on that, oh, there goes the screen again. Love field. That's not at all what I said. Nearest to me was NASA, which is down there, and I don't think it's called Love Field. But as you can see, as you zoom in here, yeah, KTTS, that one. As you zoom in here, more airports come available. This is a glimpse into Dovetail's flight simulator. You have a free flight mode, and in free flight mode, you have this pretty cool looking map that you can zoom all the way in. You can see nav aids and runways and all that lovely, delightful stuff. We'll show you that in a bit. Okay, so everything there, as the point I'm trying to make here is this is very heavily based on FSX and Prepared. A lot of the settings look different. They're reskinned, but they are the same. Okay, the bulk of this, we have missions and flight training. So I guess, you know, one of the things I have not done in this is actual flight training, because the flight training stuff for me just did not work initially. So I guess we'll go and do a flight training thing as the first in flight, but I'm going to show you a free flight first. As in, I'm going to show it to you, but not fly it, and then we'll do the flight training, because this is a simulator product aimed at new pilots and training. So I have two aircraft. I have this, the PA-28, and I have this, PA-18, also known as a Cub. And over here, I think that's a Cherokee. Yeah, I think it's a Cherokee. You have different liveries here. You can click on View Liveries. This is very cool. Look, very slick, very nice presentation as you go through these liveries here, which is great. View planes. That puts me back to the planes thing, or load a flight. We're not going to do that. We're going to choose this aircraft and go next. That's going to dump me onto the global map here. And this is their flight planner. And again, although it looks very different, it's exactly the same options that you had in FSX and Prepared. So I'm going to fly from the NASA shuttle landing facility here, and I can choose to go to another airport, or I can go via VORs and all sorts of stuff. If I zoom in, they should come visible. There we go. So go via VORs and NDBs and all sorts of lovely stuff here, or I can just click randomly and click back. So there's my flight plan, NASA to NASA, and then right click, and it stops the flight plan. You do need a full flight plan before you go flying in free flight. You cannot simply load the aircraft up at an airport and say, let's go. You need to create this flight plan. Down here, bottom left, is the time and day. Click on that and you can set up the time and day and everything there. You've got the weather here. And again, FSX and Prepared presets. Clear weather, fair weather, foggy, light rain, cold fronts. Cool. I did notice actually in the directory that this installs into within Steam a SimConnect file, which realistically makes me wonder whether or not SimConnect type add-ons such as Active Sky Next would work with this. I haven't tried that. I'm not going to try that. That's beyond the scope of this video, looking purely at the sim. Once you've done all of that, you click on Log Plan, and it will go through a long loading thing. Here, it takes a little while to load up, but then so did FSX and so did Prepared. Loading and loading and loading. And again, the presentation here is phenomenal. It really is presented very well. They've done a great job at reskinning everything and making it look like a brand new sim. I don't think it is that new, though. Oh, here we go. So I'm in my sim now. Look, This was a bug that I pointed out to them initially. I don't know if it's picking up on the record, I'm sure it is, but there, you're going to pick it up there. Shearing. Lots of shearing. I could work around that. I could fire up the NVIDIA inspector and force vertical sync on. That would prevent the shearing from happening, but I figured, why would I do that? Most of you will not. Also notice that I did turn on anti-aliasing. Look at those dials. Not entirely sure we're doing a great job of anti-aliasing there. Well, I guess as you move closer, the circles are nice and smooth, I guess. But the textures are just a little bit weak. And then from here, we could, if we wish to, go and fly. Oh my god, look at that shearing. Not very pleasant. Anyway, I said that I was going to do a lesson. I'm kind of sitting on the wrong way here. I might as well take off. I might as well show you around here, and then we'll quit out and do a lesson. So I'm going to fly. Now, this is an interesting quirk as well of the sim. If I press Shift Z, there's my frame rate. It is unlimited. I'm currently hitting 24 frames per second. If I click on fly, notice it jumps up. I don't know what they're doing initially there, but that's how you get a good frame rate, is to get off that initial bit. Let me reset track IR. I do like that it supports track IR. By the way, look, no friction bug. No throttle applied yet, and we're rolling. So the friction bug is fixed, which is nice. All the keys you're familiar with and used to in FSX work. So the A key zips me through my various views. The S key, track IR, zips me through the various external views. I don't know what happened there. Oh my god. A. S. Okay. S. There we go. We're back in the cockpit. So I guess let's go flying. Very, very briefly. I probably won't even land this. I just really want to get it up in the air and show you a little bit, and then I want to go into the lessons, which is the core of this. And that's key. Well, there's a couple of things key. First, I am still running a preview build. Although, as a developer, I have to question whether there is a significantly different build that people are preloading than the one that the beta or preview users are getting on Steam right now. I've got to question that. Second of all, is you got to bear in mind, this is not aimed at most of you. Most of you who are long-time viewers on the Frugal Sim channel are expert simmers. And this is not aimed at you. This is aimed at people who don't know how to fly. People who've never simmed before. It's a gentle, friendly, handheld introduction to the world of simulation, courtesy of Dovetail. But even so, most of you watching are coming from the world of FSX and prepared, so let's talk about the obvious stuff here, that this doesn't look very good. It really doesn't look very good. This is Florida, and if I fire up Florida and FSX, it looks a little bit better than this. Really, we don't have a whole lot of fir trees on the ground in Florida. Not at all. There are some, but not many. It's good that they got the VAB there, the Vehicle Assembly Building, over there. That's neat. I like that. Shame they don't have any other buildings. I've actually spent time at NASA. I went there and got invited up for the Falcon 9 CRS launch last year, and spent a lot of time there. Actually parked right outside the VAB and spent a lot of time in the buildings. There are a ton of buildings around the VAB. A ton of them. A ton. They're very nondescript. They're just boxes. I don't see why you can't just put boxes on the ground and do the auto-gen thing, but even so, they are not there. Hey-ho, let's turn. Let's fly and turn. So before I get thrown into a lesson where it constricts everything I can do, watch this. I'm going to put full left aileron. Notice the slip ball. A little bit delayed in its movement, but that's okay. So let's try and coordinate that turn. So I'm going to put full left aileron and start feeding in some rudder. I can coordinate the turn. And it flies pretty well. I did have a lot of concerns initially with the flight model in that it was completely wrong. This one doesn't look completely wrong. It doesn't feel as much of a challenge as I think this aircraft normally is, you know, from my experience only with the A2A version. But I tend to use, as somebody that doesn't fly for real, you know, I have flown for real, I have done lessons, but I'm not qualified. So as somebody that doesn't fly for real really at all, I tend to judge aircraft and simulations based on best of breed simulation products, such as A2As. If I'm flying a GA product, I'm going to look for the A2A version and compare everything to that. If I'm flying a jet, I'm going to grab the PMDG or the Majestic version, or jet, I should say, passenger airliner, because Majestic don't do jets. But I'm going to grab one of those two companies' products and compare everything to that. So I'm comparing this to the A2A product. I've done a little bit of trimming here. Okay. I mean, it's not completely a cub, really, but it's close. It just feels a little bit easy, but it should be easy because this is aimed at new pilots, people who've never flown. This is a preview build, that's fine. It just, doesn't look very nice outside the window. Okay, I am not going to do a full pattern here. I'm not going to do full by the book everything. I want to get this all done in one video. So I'm going to simply wrap around. I was going to say wrap around, turn around here. Get myself on runway heading. This aircraft shouldn't require a whole lot of runway to stop. So we'll start losing some altitude here. Huge rate of descent, 1,000 feet per minute, dropping like a brick. Which, look at that wing. Look at that wing. It really shouldn't be dropping like a brick. Look, I'm going to leave the controls alone right now. Okay, so I'm descending at 2,000 feet per minute in what is basically a Super Cub. Over 100 miles per hour. The nose should at this point be coming up. And it's really not. Anyway, let's continue. So given how this is performing, it's actually going to be a bit of a challenge to land this because it doesn't want to drop any speed. Which is wrong. Which is very, very wrong. But now I'm turning. Now the speed's coming down dramatically. I'm actually breaking out into a sweat because I hate being so lackadaisical on video. But even so. See if there are flaps on this. Are there flaps on this? Yes, there are. Look at that. Oh, there's the balloon effect from the flaps. Somewhat pronounced. Okay, so I'm off the throttle. Full flaps. Gear is fixed. We don't need to lower that down. I'm just going to put this down the wrong way. Yeah. And then we'll go into a flight lesson and see what the bulk of the product is. But this is fine. This is aimed at people who've never flown. So mastering the principles of roll, pitch, yaw, power is important, more important, I think, than being a study sim of any one particular aircraft. And in all fairness, you know, the default aircraft in FSX, the default aircraft in Prepared, look at that, I got an achievement! Flying, soaring, yay me! The default aircraft in those sims are pretty terrible as well. So we can give Dovetail fair dues there. Bear in mind, it's Dovetail. You know, the people that make Rail Simulator, their actual company name, Dovetail, is what is it? Not an alias, but it's a trademark of RailSimulator.com, and Rail Simulator historically is a DLC heavy product, so expect this to launch and then have a ton of DLC. I'm very pleased to see actually that they are involving third parties to produce that DLC. Let's not exit, and not just doing it themselves. Hopefully that results in some really cool products. What is this now? Resume? No. Let's not resume. Let's end the flight. And I'm very pleased as well to see that Dovetail are not going full realism, which means that they will be charging us every time we land, which is great. Okay, free flight, land at KTTS, which I did. I completed the flight. I'm awesome. Now the entire UI is broken. That way, post-flight. Okay, so that's free flight. You fly anywhere. You can set your weather conditions somewhat based on preset themes, set time and day, and all that good stuff. That's the glimpse into the full sim, but it's nothing like the full sim because the full sim is still a long way away from being released. We cannot judge the full sim based on this. Frankly, I feel a little bit awkward judging flight school based on this, but even so, 2 days away from release, I kind of have to. Let's go into flight training. There are 2 schools in my preview here. We're going to Wathan because that's what I was told to do. Single engine piston on land. Located near London in the United Kingdom, Wathan Flying Club provides expert tuition for pilots wishing to gain their light aircraft pilot's license. The other flight school, by the way, covers PPL and then IFR. White Waltham Airfield is a privately owned general aviation aerodrome boasting 3 runways. Waltham Flying Club was founded at White Waltham in 1938, and we have trained thousands of students to fly over the past 30 years and see many of our qualified pilots returning to enjoy a flight around the beautiful countryside, which I think is what we're going to do now. So lesson 1, takeoff. Notice you cannot proceed through the lessons unless you complete the prior one. There is a cheat code which unlocks them all. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Maybe it's going to be removed from the final product. I have it. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to try to follow things the way you will. Every student remembers their very first takeoff. This one will be made all the more memorable as you will depart a classic airfield and true stick and rudder aircraft. You begin with your Piper Super Cub at White Waltham, listen to your instructor explain the controls, then take off, climb to 1000, level off. And this is the bulk of Dovetail's flight school. It is a flight school. It's a collection of lessons to teach somebody new to the world of flight and simulation how to do things. So this is the bulk of this first impressions. Really, this is where we should be focusing our attention. Loading, loading, loading. Okay, that progress bar is going quite nicely now. The presentation, by the way, on these lessons is actually pretty good. They've recorded full voiceovers, they use in-sim graphics to do intro animations and stuff like that, and it actually works really, really well, as you're about to see.
Welcome to White Waltham Airfield near London.
Thank you.
This is said to be the largest grass aerodrome in the UK. The expansive field and historic buildings make for a timeless flying experience, as you'll soon discover.
Yes, I will. A little bit cartoony.
And the Piper Cub is the quintessential general aviation aircraft.
It's a Super Cub.
I always tell my students, flying a Cub is real flying. Pilots have been learning to fly in Cubs at White Waltham since before the Second World War.
Fabulous. This one looks like it's from the Second World War.
Today. This fantastic Cub has been prepared and fueled for our flight. Why don't you hop in?
Well, I can't. There's somebody already in the seat. If you look there, there's clearly somebody sitting in there. Oh, hello. Okay.
Let's get the engine started.
Okay, then let's do that.
First,
How?
I'll turn on the battery.
Thanks.
Now, there are only 2 bits of information you'll need from the instruments during this lesson.
Right.
Airspeed, or
Yep.
how fast we're going.
That would be that
and
one.
Altitude, how high
And
we
that
are.
would be that one.
Airspeed is displayed on the top left
Oh, look.
gauge. That's the most important instrument you'll use today, so get familiar with it.
Fabulous.
In this Cub, the airspeed is shown in miles per hour.
Yes.
Altitude is displayed on the instrument just below the airspeed. It's reading near 0 since we're sitting on the ground.
Fabulous.
All right, let's start the engine and go flying.
How? How do I
Here
do
we
that?
go.
Oh, okay, he does that.
Clear prop!
Clear prop. Good. We should have checked around before we did
Can
that.
you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
We can communicate
Over
over
the intercom.
as long as you have your
I
headphones
do have
on.
my headphones on.
That's better.
There.
I've got mine turned up as you're a little quiet.
Well, that's because, I don't know.
First, let's check the controls and
Great.
I'll explain their effects.
Okay. What
Push
do
the
we do?
stick left,
Left.
then right.
And then right.
Good. This will roll the aircraft in the direction you turn.
Fabulous.
It's simple stuff and will all make sense once you try it out in flight.
Good stuff.
Next, gently push the stick forward
Forwards.
and then gently pull it
And
back.
backwards. That works.
This will pitch the nose of the aircraft down and up.
Down and up. Pitch.
When you want to climb, raise the nose towards the sky.
You can see
by
the
pulling
presentation
stick
here is
back.
actually very, very
When
good.
you want to descend,
I like this.
lower the nose by pushing the stick forward.
Well, that's one way of descending.
And finally, the rudder
Alternately,
pedals.
just reduce power.
Pressing these moves the rudder to twist
Okay.
or yaw the aircraft
Yeah,
left and right.
they're all working.
It's the hardest control to understand,
Not really.
but you'll figure it out.
Okay.
To begin with, you'll probably only use the rudder pedals when we're on the ground.
I'm thinking back to my first
Pushing
flying
the
lessons.
rudder
That's
pedals
probably
will
correct,
also
actually.
move the tail wheel, and that's how you steer on the ground.
Although obviously you
Left
coordinate
rudder
a
will turn
turn
us
with them.
left, right rudder
That
will
stops
turn
you
us to
being
the right.
flung against the side of the aircraft as you roll the aircraft.
Since there's no control tower here at White Waltham, we just broadcast our intentions over the traffic frequency. That way any other aircraft nearby will hear us, know where we are, and where we're going.
Fabulous. All right, and do
White
that.
Waltham Radio, Piper Golf Delta Lima, taxiing from Waltham Flying Club to runway 07.
Okay. I've never done this
we're
bit.
looking good.
Looking good for this.
I'll taxi us up to the runway.
Oh, he's going to do it. I can just sit back, have a coffee, chill out, admire the cartoon cars. That was quick. Are we there? I guess we are.
We'll perform a normal takeoff and climb to 1,000
Right.
feet. I know this is all new to you, so I'll talk you through it.
Thank you.
Now let's test the engine by performing a run-up. We always do this to reveal any problems before we leave the ground.
Right.
I'll hold the brakes to stop us from moving.
Good. He's going to hold the brakes.
Gently move the throttle control
All the way forward. There we go. Throttle coming up. Good sound. Excellent sound. I'm done. That's it. I can't go any further
Gently
forward.
move the throttle control all the way forward.
Yeah, I did. I actually did. Oops. That's as forward as it gets.
Gently move the throttle control all the way forward.
Okay. Let's see if we can access some control settings here and find out what the heck is going on. Throttle axis, null zones, no, that should be completely awesomely fine. Let's make the throttle hypersensitive. Maybe that will solve the dilemma. Back. And resume.
Good.
Ah, that worked.
Now pull the throttle control back out.
I'm going to leave that in the video. I think that's useful for you people to see
Good
and
stuff.
know.
Now we can taxi onto the runway and line up for takeoff.
Good.
White Waltham radio, Piper Golf Delta Lima, lining up runway 07.
What the hell is that?
When you're ready, add little power to start rolling.
Okay. There's a little power. Oh, there's the handy FSX tips.
Turn right onto the runway and line up so the nose is pointed straight down the white dash centre line.
Gotcha. I can do that. Again, it's aimed at new pilots.
Use a little right rudder to tuck the nose into the right.
You think I should? Really? Is that the plan? There we go. Right. I'm actually pretty happy with that.
Use the rudder to keep the nose pointed straight down the runway.
Okay.
And get ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, full power.
Full power.
The tail will rise very quickly by itself.
Okay.
Start pulling back on the stick at 40 miles per hour.
40 miles per hour, so I'm pulling back on the stick. Whoa! That's... Oh, look! Music, fantastic! We're flying. Awesome. Dun,
Let
dun,
the
dun,
aircraft
dun.
accelerate to 75 miles per hour.
With absolutely zero idea of pitch.
So control the airspeed by pitching up or down.
Alright, we're on 75, so I'm going to pitch up. I'm going to trim those up. I don't know if trim works in this mode. Seems to.
Good. Hold 75 miles per hour with pitch and keep climbing.
Ah, graphics. Look. Towns, autogen. Looks pretty nice. Actually does look pretty good. Much better than
75 miles
Florida.
per hour is the Cub's best rate of climb speed. That means we'll get to altitude as fast as possible flying at 75.
You're beginning to annoy me. Your flight model's a little funky. Okay, there's 75.
You're almost at 1,000 feet.
I know.
You're doing really well.
Thank you.
Fantastic flying.
Oh, you're too kind.
Gently push the stick to pitch the nose down and stop the climb.
Stop the climb, fly
High
level
level at 1,000 feet.
Well, you told me that after we hit 1,000, so you're a bit of a muppet, really. Oh,
great.
music!
The transition to cruise is complete. Well done.
Fabulous. Now we get back to the achievement unlocked, reach for the skies. Congratulations, you learned how to take off and climb, and that is what Dovetail's flight school is all about. Curated lessons teaching new people how to fly, how to sim, and giving them an introduction to the world of flight, and I think for that it is absolutely fantastic. Do I think this is better than FSX or Prepared? Hell no. No way at all. In fact, I think a lot of this could have been done in FSX or Prepared with a series of well-produced adventures and missions within those two platforms. I think this could also have been done. In fact, it has been done in X-Plane. There is an add-on that you can get for X-Plane to teach you how to fly, which does pretty much the same stuff, albeit a little bit better. As a glimpse of the upcoming sim, I can see the potential. I mean, certainly we're getting nice frame rates. There are some issues and some quirks in this preview build that I believe need to be fixed before it releases tomorrow. But other than that, I think it provides a nice view as to what's coming up. I think there's some way to go, and that's why Dovetail's Flight Simulator is not being released tomorrow, only Flight School is. I don't know what more to say than that. I had some problems, I had some troubles. I'm pretty demanding in what I expect from a simulator given my background in simulation. Leave a comment in the comment section below, tell us what you think, try to be reasonable, bear in mind this is a preview that you're looking at, bear in mind this is not aimed at most of you, this is aimed at new pilots. As always, my name is Frugal, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all very soon.